Have you ever thought about what it feels like to be studying with an impairment, like, for example, being blind? These few seconds from the perspective of a visually impaired student may have put you in an unusual situation, which only highlights the diversity among students, that everyone is different and has different needs. Which leads us to the important topic of social sustainability. Besides the two pillars, ecology and economy, the social is the third essential pillar of sustainability. But what does social sustainability really mean? We try to find out how students of the University of Mannheim understand it.
I think I never really thought about this.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Apparently, social sustainability is not a very popular and well-known concept, so let's have a look at what social sustainability actually is.
What is social sustainability? If you look at the SDGs, there are multiple SDGs that relate to social issues, and of course there are SDGs like no poverty and good education, health and well-being. But there's also something like inequality that needs to be reduced and gender equality that needs to be increased. And I think these dimensions all are based on the idea that we have human dignity as an underlying value of our societies, right? Equal human dignity.
Okay, now that we know what social sustainability is and what aspects it includes, let's have a look at the social sustainability aspects the University of Mannheim is focusing on. Matching a variety of theoretical approaches in literature, we have developed an own framework along which the actions of the University of Mannheim can be divided into 5 topics: equity, social and cultural life, health and well-being, safety, voice and influence, and transmission. To make this more graspable, let's now have a look at the emblematic example, disability at the university. How many students do you think have study-related special needs?
Maybe 200 people?
50.
About 10%.
How many of these do you think drop out of college?
The few who manage to start studying go through it.
Maybe 1, or not even 1%.
50 of them?
11% of all students report having one or more impairments relevant to their studies. Out of these, 32% drop the university. But what are the reasons, therefore? We asked Mr. Bachmann, a former student at the University of Mannheim, and Julie, a current student, about their experience. A start at the university is challenging for everybody, which already begins with organizing the basic requirements. What are the possibilities for young people with impairment who consider studying at a university? Just like Mr. Bachmann back then, these days Julie still complains about the lack of information, especially around the beginning of her study journey.
At school, I didn't get any information, not even about like different universities. Then when I was back in Germany, I just went to an Agentur für Arbeit, but that was only to find out what I was like interested in, and like of course there was no information at all about any like disability and so on.
This lack of information is not the only obstacle. What about accommodation and accessibility?
Man muss jeden buchen, wo man wohnen möchte. Mehrere Monate, vielleicht auch mehrere Jahre Aufenthaltswohnung war. Es ist nochmal schwieriger für eine Einschränkung.
Checking what the Studierendenwerk offers to disabled students, we discovered that there are only 8 barrier-free rooms for students and 3,000 normal ones. Mr. Wick criticizes that the difficulties already start with the current construction law.
Wo leben wir dann? Aber in der Bauverordnung steht es nicht, aber in der Menschenrecht oberrechtlich die Unerikert.
Once the basic requirements are met, student life doesn't get any easier. Julie's chronic disease, for example, is considered an invisible disability, which makes it even harder to justify any kind of compensation in front of professors, but also fellow students. In this case, for example, the General Student Committee of the University of Mannheim helps out.
Es gibt ja auch zum Beispiel den Nachteilsausgleich. Da gab es auch schon häufiger Kritik, dass der nicht richtig umgesetzt wird. Und solche Sachen sprechen wir dann eben bei der zuständigen Person dort in der Uni ab.
Apart from that, Mr. Bachmann and Julie pointed out the lack of appropriate activities to get together. Mr. Bachmann is playing soccer, but he missed a sports program offer at the University of Mannheim back then. Even today, there is still no special sports offer for people with disabilities.
To do sports as a disabled person, but I can't because when I'm with normal, healthy people, it just doesn't work. And they don't care either because they want to do their sport. And the only sport group I get is like for seniors, and I'm not a senior, I am a 20-year-old person.
Facing all these challenges requires courage and self-confidence, qualities that our interview partners definitely have. Still, Julie and Mr. Bachmann mention how exhausting it is to constantly fight for oneself.
It's like really exhausting to fight all the time because like you're fighting like every day for your health already, and then you have to fight with the uni too, so.
Nevertheless, the University of Mannheim offers helpful support to reduce the difficulties. For example, there are several contact persons who offer professional support.
But I saw online that they had like a representative for like chronic illnesses, so that was like a panic reducer moment.
Overall, Mr. Bachmann also had a good time at the university with proper support.
Ja, mir hat Spaß gemacht. So, da das immer ein Essen bringen gehabt habe, war auch gar kein Problem.
In addition, there is a guideline of the Studierendenwerk Mannheim, especially developed for students with a handicap or chronic diseases. It includes information about counseling centers, the spatial conditions, disadvantage compensation, financial and social support, but also information about starting a career. Also, new projects are coming up.
Also ich glaube, dass wir erstmal auch ganz wichtig ist, dass wir das Thema total ernst nehmen und wichtig nehmen, und ich glaube, das ist noch gar nicht so verbreitet, weil ja, wie gesagt, oft immer dieser Umweltaspekt im Fokus steht. Wir hatten jetzt gerade so ein bisschen dran zu gucken, wie könnte man denn Projekte umsetzen. Zum Beispiel so ein Thema könnte sein ein Leitsystem. Leitsystem meint so ein bisschen, dass man sich an der Uni besser zurechtfinden kann. Also gerade jetzt für Gäste, für Incoming Students oder auch für Menschen mit einer Beeinträchtigung, dass man einfach Möglichkeiten schafft, damit man im Grunde dass man frei sich bewegen kann, ohne dass man Hilfe benötigt.
Recapitulating, it can be said that there are many obstacles when studying with a visible or an invisible disability, but the University of Mannheim has already been tackling many of these. A key takeaway that can be inferred from our interview partners is that the easiest way to support affected students and to further reduce the obstacles is to improve communication and the promotion of the actions the University of Mannheim is doing.
Mehr Menschen, die im Prinzip ja, das Potenzial haben, ihren Abschluss zu machen. Diese Leute müsste man direkt oder besser ansprechen, klar.